Hello there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand. And Happy New Year, everybody! So it's now officially 2023. And with the new year in Stampin' Up!, we always come out with new catalogs. So we've got our new mini catalog that's valid from January to April 2023, as well as the first 2 months of the year. We've got Celebration! Yay! So, this month's theme for the Global Monthly Video Hop is Celebration. So myself and other demonstrators from around the world will be showing you different products from the new Celebration brochure and what to do with those products. So in the video description below, I will have links to all the other demonstrators that will be participating, so you can go and get inspiration for how to use free products that you will receive when you purchase, host, or join during Celebration. And click on those links to hop over to those videos. I will also list the products that I'm using in this demonstration below. So for the card here, I want to show you is these cute little owls. So it's the Adorable Owls stamp set that you can get for free if you purchase a qualifying amount of products. Talk to your demonstrator in the country you're at. Here in New Zealand, it's free with an order of $110 during January and February. Other countries, it's different prices because, of course, the exchange rate. So I'm going to show you how to make this cute card here. And with a lot of my cards, I make them interactive because I just can't help it. So there's the two of the three cute owls there. And you open that up and it says, "Hoot, hoot, you're so cute." And you can slide it shut. And on this one, I went ahead and put the third owl on the inside and found a happy birthday stamp elsewhere and stamped it. So there you go. I am going to change it up like I usually do. I do one sample beforehand, and then on the video I do it slightly different. So I'll explain a bit of how I made this one before I get making the other one. So this is basic white. You've got your base card, which is your thick basic white, and then I have a thinner piece of basic white that's just slightly smaller than the front of it. With this, I stamped this cute little owl there, and then I made a mask using our masking paper. And so what you do is you stamp on the masking paper, and then you cut around the image that you want to mask. So you can see that little owl there. And then what I did is I put the mask over this picture here. I'm just going to do it roughly here, but you would line it up perfectly. And then I used this the blending brushes to blend some balmy blue in the top and some granny apple green at the bottom to give me the differentiation between sky and ground. And in the new catalog, I'll show you a quick peek. We have this really cool stand for your brushes. So it holds 9 of the brushes, and there's these new mini blending brushes. They're so soft and tiny and cute and adorable. And so you have the stand to hold them. And that's one of the new products in the new mini catalog. So if you're looking to purchase different things to get up to celebration level, that's a good option. I did the brushes and the stand. I already had 2 sets of the large brushes. The brushes all come in sets of 3. So I blended those bits there, had that mask so the color wouldn't go on to the actual owl. And then this that looks like grass is actually carrot detail. So you're probably thinking, what's she talking about? So this is another free Celebration stamp set that you can get. And it's got different things that look like carrots, or I guess they could be leeks, I think they are also called. And so see how it has this detail here? So that detail, I think, gets stamped over the leaf there, and that detail would get stamped over the carrot. It's this long stamp here. And I looked at it this way and thought, that looks like grass. So that's what I did. So I inked it up with the Granny Apple Green and just stamped it randomly. And as you can see, I left the mask on, so when I stamped it there, I didn't get any grass on the little owl. Then when I peel the mask off, it looks like the owl is sitting on the grass and the grass is going behind the owl. Colored my owls in blends, so I stamped another one on basic white cardstock, colored it with blends, and I cut out some clouds from the Give It a Whirl die set. So there's 3 clouds in that set. So those are the 3 clouds, and they have like stitched around the edges. Now in the new catalog, I haven't got my hands on this stamp set yet, but I will be. There's a stamp set called Playing in the Rain, and it has 3 clouds in there. And it also has dies to cut those clouds out. I'm not sure of the size, but if you have that die set, you could use that to cut the clouds. I believe the dies will also cut the clouds from the designer series paper from that set. And see, here's the clouds there. So those ones aren't stitched. So if you want a non-stitched version, you could possibly use those clouds there. Or you could just simply fussy cut around some cardstock to make your clouds. And that's basically how I did this card. Now the other one, I'm going to use DSP for the background, so that's why it's going to be slightly different. And I just love coloring in the owls. The Stampin' Blends I used for the background is our shaded ones. Let me see the name of those. Okay, I found it. It's called the Natural Tones Stampin' Blends. It's on page 128 of the main catalog. So you get them in packs of 2. And then they have numbers on them, so they on here it says something like deep, medium, deep, etc. But on the pens itself, it just has numbers 100, 200, 300, and I used a lot of those colors. So if you have a good look there, see the different shades. I think they were brought out mainly to do different skin tones, and here you can see some of the different colors there. So they brought out to do skin tones. To make people look more realistic. But they also work well with doing animals and things. So I've used a lot of those there. And then, of course, I've got my Granny Apple Green on the bow tie and pumpkin pie, I believe, on the beak and the feet of that one. So let's get started on showing you how to make this one. So I've already gone ahead and stamped and colored a couple owls. These don't have dies to match, so I just fussy cut around them. And as you can see, with blends, it does bleed through on the back, so you don't want to be doing this on your main card. You want to do it on a separate card that you're going to stick on there. Because even the the one I did for the inside, I used Stampin' Blends, and you can see it is bled through, but in the back, I don't mind so much. So I've got my 2 adorable owls done. And then the other, I'll just take that away for a second. The other thing I've got a base card. Now this time I've decided to cut it the long ways, so it's going to open this direction. And let me just apologize for any noises you hear in the background. I rescued a kitten a couple days before Christmas, and I already have a 2-year-old cat. They're both black. So they're just starting to have friendly play in the background, but the older cat still doesn't know his strength. So every once in a while you might hear a little shriek or some noises of toys in the background. But I apologize for that. It's just some fun going on. So where are we going? So the base. So the original card I did opening this direction. And this one, same size card. So they end up being the same exact size. But I cut my A4 paper the long ways, so I open it this direction. So I've cut 2 pieces that way instead of 2 pieces the wide way. So that's my base. So whatever country you're in, you just need a base. This is considered, I think this is landscape. And then I've got my DSP, my designer series paper. This paper is new. This is part of the By the Bay specialty designer pack. It has some really beautiful images and some nice shimmer with the images. So this piece here, that was cut from the bottom. And then I cut a bit from the top, and I just thought that kind of looked like sky. But see, that's the other side of it. See how it shimmers? So with this designer series paper, you get a shimmer on one side and not. Now this is in the main catalog. So what I did is I figured out how the biggest piece I need to cut out the cloud, and I trimmed that off the top, and then I trimmed what was left to have 10 centimeters high, and I forgot I need to trim some off the edge of it as well to make it 14.3 wide. I don't know if you can hear. That's the older cat trying to find the younger one. So I'm going to go and I'm going to use these clouds and cut some out of this piece of the paper so I can have some interesting looking clouds. And I will trim this down as well, and then I will come back and we'll put this together. So I have die cut my clouds, and depending on where you choose to cut on the paper, you get different looks. I could possibly even cut some out of here if I wanted to have more clouds. So those were the clouds from the Give It a Whirl die set. And so look, I've got an interesting looking cloud there. And this is going to be placed there. And then, depending on how I want my cloud to go, I'm going to have my clouds there. Or I could actually, on this one, I could make that cloud come this way and have the smaller ones over here. I'll decide in a minute. Now, I need to cut my shape there, which will reveal the words. My original one, I used, you could just, cut it out with an X-Acto knife or your trimmer. I used one of these stitched dies here from the rectangle stitch frame dies. So I used one of those to cut it. But I thought this time, because I don't want that stitched look around it on the DSP, I am opting to use the smallest from the Deckled rectangle dies. So I'm going to use a small one here. So it's not as long as what I originally had, but it's still wide enough. So when you're doing this project, you have to be aware of what you're going to stamp in there. So I'm going to stamp the Hoot Hoot You're So Cute, and you have to be aware whether it fits in the shape that you're doing. So I could do a different shape if I wanted, but I'm going to stamp that in there. And now I just kind of need to figure out my scene. So I'm going to have this little guy sit down here because it kind of looks like a bit of ground, maybe a little puddle there. And then this guy's going to be flying off the side, and I'll have my words there. So if he's here, my words are there, and then he can slide over. So hopefully we'll line this up right. So yeah, I want the words to be about there. And my owl can go from this side over to there. I'm just thinking, yeah. So, so now I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to die cut this shape out of that section. And you don't want to throw the part that you cut out away because you will be using that. Okay, so I've got that cut piece and it's not stitched, so it's not as obvious as the other piece. And now that is going to be here. Oh, sorry about my cat. I think he's looking for the kitten. So I'm going to stamp the words right around that side there. So I'm just going to stamp with the Memento black ink. And so I'm just going to roughly hold that there. You don't want to stick this down yet because you've got to do some stuff in the background to make it slide. So I'm just using Memento black ink and the Hoot Hoot You're So Cute stamp. So if you had something smaller, you wouldn't need as big of an opening. And I'm just going to pop that as far over as I can. There we go, that's pretty far over. Good. And now I So it looks like it's offset, but that's okay because you're not going to see the whole right side because the owl is going to move that direction. So because I'm not doing any coloring like this one, I had to do the blending and stuff beforehand. I'm just doing that. I will now start sticking things together. So this is going to slide over. And the other thing you need is just a scrap piece of window sheet. So just a little, this is just scrap left over from when I used my window sheet. A little bit of plastic, something clear. But the reason I didn't use cardstock, you could use cardstock, but I need it stiff enough so when I pull it and slide it, it's not going to bend. I've done these before with just the thick cardstock, and eventually after you pull them back and forth a few times, they do kind of fall apart. So you also need either dimensionals or the foam adhesive strips. Now that's the better option to use because you get the nice long pieces. We have some other foam adhesive that you could cut into shape, or if you don't have it, just a lot of dimensionals will do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stick them along the frame to give it a space to slide through. So see here, it slides that way, but it's a bit loose. I didn't put the foam that close, so I'm going to put the foam closer so it has a tighter sliding area so it doesn't wobble as much. So the foam adhesive strips come in, there's usually a pack of 2 in there, but as you can see, I've used quite a lot of mine. You just peel them off, or you could cut them into the size you need. Grab your snips, and in order to support it, I'm going just to put it right close to the edge. So I want it to be close to the top and bottom of this opening. You don't want anything on this side because that's where you're going to slide things through. So I'm just going to put it, and the nice thing with these are good for shaker cards and such because you can shape them into circles, but I'm going to put this right close to that edge. Oh, my cat's meowing again. And just snip off the end there. And that will support the top. I don't really need to put another one on the top. And this one here, I'm going to put it right next to the edge of that die cut section. Okay. Now, on my original card, I popped the whole thing up. This one I was thinking I might actually stick down. No, maybe I will leave it popped up. Just to give it some dimension. So I'll put another strip down the bottom. And so if you don't want to rip the whole strip off, you just put it on. And then just cut it off your excess. Yep. Sticking to my finger now. So just cut off your excess there. So it's like dimensionals. You got your sticky on the back. So, and just to give it a little extra support, I'm just going to put, take that little last bit off there. I'm going to snip a section off there and just give some support on either side. Okay. So you don't really need a stopper there because the way I've set this up, it's not going to go all the way through. And now we can go ahead and stick this down. So peel the backing off your adhesive strips. And stick it in place. And you'll see in a second. Now, so if you're sending this through the mail, you will have to put extra postage on it because it is quite thick. You could put this on background colored cardstock, but if you did that, you would need to put a white piece in here to be able to stamp on. Okay, so now we've got that there. And now the next part is figuring out where to stick our piece here. So this needs to be able to slide all the way through. It's going to slide part of the way, at least up to there. And because of that, I need to figure out where the clear is going to stick on the back of it compared to my cloud. So if I imagine, I might not even need that big of a piece. So if I imagine the piece is on the back, I'm sliding it to there. Got my cloud sticking up there. And my owl, he's going to be the stopper. So I actually want the cloud to, the difference with this is I got him very close to there. I might actually have that go further out. Okay. Trying to think of how I'm going to stick this together. Okay, so I'm going to put some double-sided tape on just part of this section of the clear, which will also make it more noticeable. But I have to have enough sticking out to be able to slide things, so I can always trim off any excess that I don't want sticking out, so that's okay. Put your double-sided tape, your dimensionals, not dimensionals, your tear and tape on it, and then just pop it in. Make sure you've got it the right way up, so checking the coloration that I've got it going the right way. And then I can just slide that in there. So that's going to hide, sort of hides what I'm seeing there. Okay, so now I'm going to have the cloud, and it's going to cover the mechanism. But I need it to stick out the side, so I've got something to pull with. I'm just going to pop a dimensional on there. So if you can see, there's that piece there, and I'm just going to pop a dimensional right there, which happens to be the right size. And then this is what my cloud's going to stick on. And I'm actually thinking I might want to have two dimensionals, make it a bit taller, because I don't want the cloud to catch on that as I slide it back through. Because my original one, I had just the one cloud, and it was catching when I slid it, because you can see the cloud goes too far over. When I slid it back, it caught, so I put the extra cloud there to give me the moving through that way. And so that's not going to go anywhere because the two dimensionals are on there, and he's going to be there, and then I might pop the other clouds around. I don't know which way up these clouds are supposed to go, but I could pop a couple clouds over there. So we'll pop this off here. I think that's the way the cloud goes. I don't know my clouds. And I will stick him over as far as I can so he doesn't stick too far out. Hopefully he still fits an envelope. And so now, having that stuck down, I have my sliding mechanism. But at the moment, it pulls all the way out because there's nothing stopping it. But we will fix that by putting the owl on. So the flying owl is going to go, and we want it to go maybe about that far. So I am going to now stick the dimensionals on there. We'll pop one there, and we'll pop another dimensional down there. And this might be perfect. I'll just have a look at how I'm going to place him. There you go, and just press them down. So now, I slide it. There's my little owl kind of covering the opening, and you slide it that way, and it doesn't pull through because the dimensionals are holding it in place. Still a little wobbly, but much better than my last one. And this one being up higher on the dimensionals, it's not catching as I slide it back in. If it was lower, it might catch like that, but because I did 2 dimensionals on there, it slides it in. So there we've got our owl. And so looking at that, you've got no idea that there's any words hiding, and then you can just go like that. And so then it stops there, and we've got our hoot hoot, you're so cute. So now we do the rest of the scene. So I've got this little guy looking like he's just sitting on the ground down here. And then I'm going to put some more clouds in. Just wondering how I can do the clouds. You don't want to obstruct anything. Might do one there and then have this one up higher. It's like, how do you do clouds? Now, which way do you do them? I could just do another one there. No, I think we'll do those there. So I'm just going to stick this guy straight down with some glue. Make him a bit flatter on the surface. And so this die set you can get with a qualifying order. It's the first level in Celebration. So if you see any of the new items from the mini catalog you like, put this on your list. It's adorable. Having some glue issues. It's very hot and humid here in New Zealand at the moment because it's summer. And it affects our glue and our adhesives. So I do find that using tear and tape in the summer months here, quite often things come loose because of the humidity. So I could put him over here. No, I think I'll leave him where I was going to. Just stick him down with a bit of glue. And then maybe I will kind of like the overlapping cloud part. So I'll just put a little glue on here. Overlap my clouds. And then I will dimensionalize them. And then I will pop those up with some dimensionals to give it some extra dimension, which is why they call them dimensionals. So if you never knew why they call them dimensionals, that is why, because you can get extra dimension. Now I use all the edges of my dimensionals, which is nice. They make them that you can do that. So you just snip the edges off. And if you didn't have the foam adhesive strips, you could just cut. See how the edges don't go straight up there? You can just cut straight across the edge there to give you one long strip on your dimensionals. So you could end up with several long strips to do the same effect that I did there. And I'm just cutting this one so I can just support the little end of the little skinny end there. And pop that guy there. And that's it. So you can stamp whatever you want on the inside. My original one, I stamped the birthday one and then did a happy birthday. This one I'm not going to stamp on the inside because I'm not sure whether I want it for a birthday or not. And this one's so loose it's opening up. So that just shows you how you can do it with just the designer series paper. So it's not very obvious that it opens, but there you go. Yeah, and it will open if you slide it as well. So I could put some other images at the bottom, I guess, but that's it. So that's your Celebration Adorable Owls set. And if you want to get the grass like that, and you happen to get the Thanks a Bunch Celebration one, that's what I used for the grass there, and the blending brushes. So those are two versions of the same Adorable Owl Celebration card. So I hope you like that. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. I will put in the description the products used, so if you want to order any of them, you can look in the description and find the product codes. Talk to your demonstrator to order. If you don't have a demonstrator and you live in New Zealand, you can contact me. There's my contact details, michellekritchley.stampinup.net. I also have a blog. If you're outside of New Zealand and don't have a demonstrator, you can go to the Stampin' Up website. I believe it's stampinup.com outside of New Zealand, and find a demonstrator that way. But please look in the link and click on all the other demonstrators links in the description, so you can go have a look at their videos and see what great things they've made with Celebration products. And don't forget, Celebration's only on to the end of February, so if you want to get some of these adorable freebies, contact someone to order now. Okay, Happy New Year. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.